Hi, my name is Ben Cousins, and this is my response to Chapter 4 Multicultural Perspectives and Diversity Issues Reflection Assignment. I'm just going to get right into it. So, number one, explain your previous ideas about this topic before answering the individual questions. So, I reflected on my thoughts on this even over the decades, and I think it's important to understand that the cultures of others and we have to fight for the right to practice, but at the same time, we have to follow the ethical guidelines of social work to ensure humanitarian lines um, aren't being crossed, even when dealing with largely different cultural structures. Excuse me. Um, of course, we need to take into mind people's different cultures, but at the same time, if we as a social worker, as an individual, feel that someone is being put in danger or someone is um, being confined or restricted to live their fullest life because of the uh, cultural guidelines because of the guidelines of some cultures, then maybe we can step in and say something. Not saying that we have to change the rules or anything, but of course we need to be humanitarians. And if someone is in a culture that is making them uncomfortable, then something there needs to be some moves there. Number two, describe which questions were most challenging for me and why. Uh, Quote, an effective mental health practitioner facilitates assimilation of culturally diverse clients into society. So the reason I had an issue with this is the mental health part of it. I think any if it was any um, social worker facilitates assimilation of culturally diverse clients into society, I would be fine with it. However, when they said mental health practitioner, that's kind of where I started um, having questions. What I mean by that is not all cultures believe in mental health. There are a lot of cultures that don't believe in mental health. They believe it doesn't exist, or you got to be tougher, or there are other um, external phenoms going on that control people's mental health. I mean, we can't just say, if there's a culture that believes that someone is cursed and they're feeling depressed, we as social workers need to understand we have science. We have science to back us up. Um, we as social workers need to step in and kind of go against their cultural views because that person's not going to get help unless we do. If they try and remove a hex or a curse on them and expect them to feel better, they're obviously not. They need counseling and in some cases medication. Um, so that needs to be considered. As a condition for licensure, all counselors should have specialized training and supervised experience in multicultural diversity counseling. Here's an issue that I had with this. I agree with it. However, the it's the kind of training. So I could get training from classes or uh, other pro- uh, professionals, but someone else could get different education from a different professional, and that specialized training can be really good or really bad. If you have a good system and a good teacher and a good role model, I mean, obviously it's going to be very effective. But if you have someone who is taken under the wing by an individual who does not practice in a way that necessarily benefits clients all the time, um, that training is null and void. So that was my thoughts here. I think it needs to be, I guess, standardized. If it's standardized, go for it. But if it's different in every state, every county, every where you work, uh, you know, how do you know which one's effective, which one's not? You don't know. Number three, explain what you learned from yourself after reading the chapter and answering the self-inventory questions. So I learned that the best learning tool is experience. Um, Reading this chapter, I obviously reading the book is gonna help you learn. However, if you want to be better and you want to understand, then you need to do it by hand. Um, and a great experience for me has been my adventures traveling. They have helped me understand and appreciate other cultures more than any textbook ever could. I can sit here and read the textbook all day, every day, and still not gain the advantage of witnessing it first person and talking to those people and understanding their food, understanding why they do things, understanding their history, their religion, that everything about those people. You just can't replicate it. No matter how hard you try in the classroom or in a textbook, you just can't replicate that hands-on experience. Number four, describe how you plan to manage your personal values in a way that allows professional values to guide my practice. So, I was raised Christian. I'm very, very firm in my beliefs. Um, I believe that everyone is made in God's image, even if they are different than me. So I must keep that in mind when I'm working with others. I could be working with someone very, very, very different from me, but I need to understand that you know, um, my job is to help them, and I'm not so different from them, even if I disagree with them on a certain view, whether it's political, cultural, whatever. Um, I am still there to help them, and you're going to disagree with people. Not everyone. The world would be a very boring place if everyone agreed and got along. Um, so you need to kind of take a step back and put yourself into their perspective, understand where they're coming from, and just in my opinion, from my experience, I'm going to try and be the best Christian that I can be and get people help. And um, if that means sitting back and putting kind of humbling myself, and like I said, having that wisdom to sit back and kind of put myself into their shoes, then I'm going to do it. Thanks.